February 21st, 2011. This is today's climate change update. Now I'm going to begin at earthchangescott.net. Mount Bulusan erupts. Major volcanic eruption in the Philippines. Philippines. Volcano Mount Bulusan erupted on Monday morning at 9:15 a.m. local time. Ash and steam from the explosion reached as high as 2 kilometers according to the report. And then we have a 5.9 earthquake off the east coast of Kamchatka, and that's where those two volcanoes are going off right now. New Zealand stranded whales put down on Stewart Island. Time, hot and dry conditions, and a pending storm warning beat any attempts to save large pod of pilot whales that beached themselves on Stewart Island. That's a sad story. A couple earthquakes in the Middle East. Earthquakes hits northern Emirates. And that's right on that African plate where there's several plates meeting right there. Australian floods bring crocs. And then there was a boy swept away by a creek. About 300 people were evacuated from a flooded and crocodile-infested town in the Northwest Territory after the deluge from Cyclone Carlos caused the Daly River to rise to 14.9 meters. That's just crazy. Over 300 people. 5 million aquatic animals die at Maria River in Kenya. Now they're estimating 5 million, but they're also talking about the toxins that are in this river will be affecting the hippos and any other wildlife that rely on water from this river for survival. So there's a huge problem going on in Kenya right now. And here's a story. Scientists' sun's approaching grand cooling assures new ice age. NASA and the ESA agree, and so does Russian Space Agency. The sun is headed for a grand solar minimum, and a grand cooling will commence. So all the global warming scam is just that, global warming scam. We are in for a cool down period. It's just another cycle. We just don't live long enough to see it all the time. Scientists finds Gulf bottom still oily and dead. Oil from the BP spill remains stuck on the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, according to a scientist video and slides that demonstrate the oil isn't as grading as hoped and has decimated life on parts of the seafloor. Now this stuff is all over the place down there, and they said they might have got about 10% of it, and they're not really sure why the microbes aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Corrects it. And with that in mind, I found this. I will link the link to this story below. BP after delays eyes start of Libyan drilling. This is out of Reuters, London. BP, recovering from last year's Gulf of Mexico oil spill, plans to begin offshore exploration drilling in Libya by the end of June, later than previously expected. Spokesman Robert Wayne said on Thursday that BP expected to drill offshore in Libya in the first half of this year, and that work on an offshore well would begin sooner. The company had previously planned to begin offshore drilling in 2010, but check this out. We postponed it due to extra checks following the oil spill, and also the rig we had lined up we decided wasn't suitable. So we got another rig, he said. Story continues. Let's go over to the extinction protocol. High tides and rising ocean levels flood homes in the Marshall Islands. Apparently there's a very high tide, and these islands are no more than 3 meters above sea level in places, and there was an unusually high tide for some strange reason, and they're having flooding, and the scientists say they are supposed to expect more as sea levels rise. My argument is the sea levels aren't rising on the edges of the coastlines like in California or Spain or the East Coast, but these islands are sinking. that's just my theory. Mass blackbird deaths reported in the Ukraine. Mass deaths of blackbirds in the Crimea are puzzling Ukrainian scientists. Dozens of migratory birds have been found dead on the highway, and in other coastal areas they reported on Saturday. And they said it's not yet known what the birds died from, and they probably flew in from North Africa, where no bird epidemics are reported. And they've got a story about the Kamchatka quakes. Tension across the tectonic plates is building, and some graphs, of course. And that's about it for today. Of course, if I missed anything, please let me know. Until tomorrow, enjoy it while you can, everybody.